We detected an unusual trade worth $1.4 million on Biogen stock, ticker symbol BIIB. This is a biotech company known for its treatments in neurodegenerative diseases. But here's what makes it even more interesting. There's been a lot of recent attention around its drug pipeline and FDA regulatory decisions on their Alzheimer's drugs. And so in this video, we'll break down the unusual option activity to determine whether this wealthy investor is bullish and buying, anticipating the stock to rise, or bearish and selling, expecting a decline in stock price. Because as we all know, the rich have more access to exclusive research and information, sometimes even leaked insider information, giving them an edge to make better, smarter financial decisions. This is how smart money always stays one step ahead, well before the rest of the market catches on. No wonder the rich get richer. And so, to level the playing field, let's dive into our analysis to gain insights from the rich so that our subscribers and members can profit from this deep knowledge too. As we can see here on the options time and sales tape, the most unusual trade happened on May 16 at 12:14 p.m. at the 7-second mark. It was for the June 20 options at the 130 strike calls. While multiple trades were entered for these same call options, the largest print occurred in a single transaction when 4,580 contracts traded at a price of $3.10 per contract. Keep in mind that options are priced per share, and each options contract represents 100 shares of stock. So we multiply by 100 or simply move the decimal 2 places to the right. That means each contract costs $310. And so, to calculate the estimated cost this wealthy investor spent, we multiply the price per contract by the total number of contracts traded. So $310 multiplied by 4,580 contracts, which gives us a total trade value of approximately $1.4 million for this unusual option activity. But keep in mind, just because a trade is large does not necessarily mean it has a high probability of success. In fact, this one carries more risk than the smaller, more selective trades we share on our website. And so if you want to get access to the lower risk trades with a higher probability of profit, then go to our website. We'll put a link up here where you can see exactly which stocks wealthy investors are trading on Wall Street and when they're doing it, so that you can have the same opportunities as the rich. Because if the rich get richer, why shouldn't you? With that said, even though this is a higher risk trade, we still took it because it was a new opening trade, but we used position sizing to manage our risk. Now, how do we know these were new opening trades? Well, we can start by checking the historical data from May 15, the day before this unusual option activity showed up on May 16. Because if this wealthy investor was opening new contracts, we would expect to see an increase in open interest. And so let's take a look at the June 20 options at the 130 strike calls. The open interest was just 376 open contracts. Now let's examine the current data on the option chain for the same June 20 options at the 130 strike calls. And we can see that the open interest has now jumped to 7,000 open contracts. Clearly, the number of open contracts increased significantly. So this tells us that this wealthy investor opened new contracts on May 16, because it would not be possible to close out thousands of contracts if only 300 open contracts existed the day before. This data is very important to figure out, because if a wealthy investor is closing out contracts or trades, it could mean they're worried about that stock, so maybe it's not the right time for us to jump in. On the flip side, if a wealthy investor is opening contracts, like in this case, it could signal an opportunity for us to start a new trade. And that is why we also traded these call options and got into the same position here. POS stands for our position, and the green color means a buy position. Because based on our deep research across multiple variables and data sets, this wealthy investor bought these 130 strike calls for $3.10 each, the same price as we calculated and saw earlier on the options time and sales tape. And so when we analyze this trade, you can see here on the risk profile graph where the profit or loss shows up here, and the x-axis represents the share price of the stock, which is currently trading over here, and the y-axis represents the amount of profit or loss. Note the zero break-even line here. And so when the purple line, which represents the current date, and the blue line, which represents the option's expiration date, are trading below this zero break-even line, as the share price goes down, this trade becomes more negative loss. And as the share price goes up, this trade becomes more positive, more profitable. Because this wealthy investor is going long bullish on Biogen stock. We can also confirm that by checking the options Greeks. This trade has a positive delta, which means it's positioned long and bullish. If it was a short bearish trade, we would see a negative delta instead. But keep in mind the risk with this trade. It has a negative theta, which means it loses value over time due to time decay. And that is why we can see here the purple line drops down lower to the blue line as we approach the option's expiration date. Since these options lose value through time, the break even on this trade moves higher as time goes on. And so we can see here, even though the call options we bought have a strike price of $130, the stock needs to trade above $133 per share for this trade to be profitable at expiration. Because of this added risk, along with other factors, we only took a small position in this trade. We don't invest a lot of capital into these higher risk trades. Instead, we focus most of our capital on lower risk, higher probability of profit trades, the kind of trades we share on our website. We'll put a link to our website here where you can also learn more strategies to increase your profits. Let us know in the comments, do you think Biogen stock will move higher or lower? As always, please like, subscribe, and until next time, let's keep tracking the trades of the rich so everyday investors can profit too. Take care and have a wonderful day.